community was, what do you do for kiddos who are just argumentative? So for instance, this person had a student who nitpicks everything you say. So you could say, oh, well, why is that? And he'd say, well, my mom doesn't say that's a bad word, don't do that, blah, blah, blah. You tell him to go get his lunchbox, or his lunchbox is too big, don't say that, you're a bad person. He says that all the time. So I mean, that's tough, right? I think the question, though, two things come up. Number one, what's the function? And number two, how much of a problem is it, right? So, is it really a problem, or is it just annoying you? So, if it's just something that's annoying to you because you're trying to teach them social skills or what have you, that's one thing. But if it's actually interfering with daily living skills, or it's interfering with personal relationships in other ways, that's when you want to go in and treat it, right? So really think about the difference with that. And we put this question in here because it's not just about kiddos who are nitpicking, but kiddos who may be engaging in self-stimulatory behavior. If you've got a child who's doing something like this, but if they're doing this and they can still focus and still, answer you and respond, do you really treat that behavior? And that's something that's come up in the last little while in behavior analysis is, what behaviors do you really treat? Yeah, absolutely. You have to treat negative behavior in terms of, self-injurious behavior, aggression, all that kind of stuff. It's dangerous. But some of the self-stimulatory behavior, do you really treat it? And the question is, it depends. So if it is interfering with living skills, if it's interfering with daily living, a person can't go from point A to point B without getting distracted, absolutely you intervene. But if a person's doing this because, I don't know, maybe it calms them down, or maybe they like the look of it and they can still concentrate on what you're saying and doing, I wouldn't treat it. That's something the person does. I think if someone were sitting across from me analyzing my behaviors, like right now I'm fiddling right now. I always fiddle. I fiddle with my fingers. I fiddle with my pen, everything else. I probably need a plan. But it's not interfering with whatever I'm doing. So that's what you really need to think about is it really interfering? Okay, going back to that, assuming it is interfering, then what would you do? You'd have to look at the behavior, figure out how you operationally define it, right? Because it has to be measurable. And then you have to figure out the function. What's the function? Is it attention? Is it, during hard programs that he brings this out? What is that? Is it, does he get attention from his peers for doing it? Or does he really just like the look on mom's face and her reaction when he does it? So those are the things that you have to ask yourself. And then, maybe going in with, like a cool, not cool program, or like, hey, what's expected, what's not expected, maybe lots of role play, those types of things. Sherry, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, and I think like you said, sometimes behaviors don't need to be targeted explicitly, but we can target the opposite or the positive opposite. So by teaching, appropriate language or reinforcement for talking respectfully, like kind of going in proactively and kind of leaving the challenging behavior to the side, what we're hoping is that some of those positive skills would replace the challenging skills, especially if you find out that the function is attention, then you don't really want to attend to it in the moment. And so having those proactive strategies, like teaching them social skills, teaching them cool, not cool, like you said, reinforcement, all that stuff may help increase those skills.